Hi everyone, Lanthony Hutchtano here, internet's busiest music nerd, and it's time for a review of the latest King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard album, Made in Timeland. If I'm being honest, too much time and not enough land. I'm feeling a light 1 to a strong 10 with this one. Transition! Have you listened to the latest album by King Gizzard? Probably not if you don't have a record player. But that's all I got. Subscribe if you like this video, please don't cry, and Lanthony Hutchtano, smoking in front of mirrors, forever. Alright, now that I got the opening sketch out of the way, as long as nothing else has been announced, this should be a pretty easy month. Oh my god. Hello everyone, and welcome to the March 2022 edition of KG.Monthly. I've kind of taken a personal break from the channel. I'm currently finishing up my senior year at university, as well as I'm starting to apply for jobs, so it's just been a little bit tougher for me recently to kind of have a, consistent upload schedule. I can't promise that I'll be posting on a regular basis like I was, not until the end of the school year, but I had to make a video today with all the great news that's coming. The biggest news I have to share with you all today is we officially have Ominum Gatherum on the horizons. Last month I talked about how the band was giving us emoji clues and hints and stuff like that, hinting towards a new album, and now we have official concrete information. And the other major news is the time has landed. We have gotten Made in Timeland. Sorta. But I will be getting into that later. Let's first get into Omnium Gatherum. At the return of the Curse of Timeland festival on March 3rd, King Gizzard premiered 4 new songs. Included in that is Garden Goblins, Magenta Mountain, Blame It on the Weather, and The Dripping Tap. Following the festival, they would end up releasing The Dripping Tap as the lead single for Omnium Gatherum. The Dripping Tap is an 18-minute long guitar odyssey, and there is vocals from Stu, Ambrose, and Joey. Comparisons have been made to the song Head on Pill, and I definitely have to agree. Both of these songs have really awesome headbanging guitar sections, along with vocal sections all throughout. My favorite part is the really satisfying build-ups they have to where they just shred the hell out of their guitars. It's a really awesome jam and an instant classic. A fantastic intro song for Omnium Gatherum. King Gizzard also announced that there would be another single releasing next week. I'm predicting it's going to be one of the songs that they premiered already at the Return of the Curse of Timeland festival, so maybe Magenta Mountain or Blame It on the Weather. I would love to hear those. However, I gotta say, I really hope that they hold it to just one more single, because I really love Butterfly 3000 when they didn't have any singles for it. So the entire album was really fresh, and I also got that same experience with Timeland. Obviously, it makes sense to probably release a few singles with a 16-song album, but I would love if they kind of capped it off at 2. Concert video has come out from fans of these other songs, but I'm personally holding off on listening to them because, I held off on listening to The Dripping Tap until the official single came out, and man, I really loved it. Vinyl pre-orders went live this morning, and if that's something that you care about, I'm hoping that you got your copy. I personally went with the Magenta Wax edition, as, obviously you got Magenta Mountain as one of the track titles, so I thought that would be kind of cool. However, there was also the Lucky Rainbow variants, which is just like a random color, and they all looked really neat. As well as I thought this was really neat as well, they took the wax that they had left over from the Butterfly 3000 vinyls, and they also had that as an option, which it also seemed like it was geo-specific, I guess, like in the United States, the yellow one was available, and I think in Australia it was blue, but I could be mistaken. And the cool thing is, this vinyl is actually going to be 2 LPs, due to it being 16 songs long. And so I'm actually going to be trading one of my magenta vinyls with my friend who got yellow, and I'm actually kind of calling it the Eggplant Lemonade edition. I don't know. But I thought they were both so cool. I thought that was kind of a cool little trade that we're going to do. Speaking of vinyls, that allows me to perfectly transition into talking about Made in Timeland. Whoa! It came out of nowhere. That was so cool. It just like popped out of nowhere. I guess this album really is cursed. So Made in Timeland is officially here. However, as alluded to earlier, the only official way to listen to it right now is via vinyl. As with most vinyl releases by King Gizzard, it did come with a little download card that allows you to have the album online. However, if you try to do this, you'll be welcomed with a, really funny and cheeky message, but yeah, there's no way to listen to it on the computer right now, officially. I was offered leaks of Timeland all the way back in November, but again, I've mentioned it before, I don't like to be surprised, so I held off. I patiently awaited, after Timeland kept getting delayed. Some of my friends were like, screw it, I'm listening to the leaks. I couldn't do it, I held off, and I'm so happy I did. Of course, I did go immediately and listen to the leaks after I listened to the vinyl one to see if it was right, and yes, it is unfortunate, but the album did get leaked a while back. On the day of release, I eagerly awaited by the door for the mailman to show up and deliver my Timeland, and I finally got it in my greasy hands and listened to it for the first time. It was actually the first time in my life that I listened to an album for the first time via physical release. Back in the day, boomers, that's what they had to do. They had to go to record stores and just hope that it was good based on the cover. I'm going to be very careful by playing pretty much any music from Timeland in this video, as it seems that any video that includes audio from it gets taken down immediately. Again, this album is definitely very cursed. But with that out of the way, let's get into my review of Made in Timeland. Made in Timeland is 30 minutes long with two 15-minute long tracks. We saw a concept similar to this on the album Quarters, which featured 4 tracks at 10 minutes and 10 seconds long. However, the songs found on Timeland are much different than the songs found on Quarters. I can make a comparison, however, to one of my favorite songs of all time. Siberian Breaks by MGMT is very similar to the vibe that you get in Timeland. Maybe not identically sound-wise, but they both have the idea of really long songs, but they don't wear out their welcome with, having one idea that they kind of just do over and over for, 10 minutes and then call it a day. No, this, along with Siberian Breaks, are both long songs, but feel like they have a bunch of smaller songs all throughout. This creates moments where you're like, oh, I love this part as it starts to, seamlessly transition, and it creates very memorable moments all throughout the song, rather than you kind of listen to it for 2 minutes and then you get the picture, you don't need to listen to the rest of it. Track number 1 is the song Timeland. This is my personal favorite song in the album because it really goes with that whole concept of constantly changing things up. It begins with a ticking clock that we'll hear all throughout, kind of introducing the tempo, before eventually moving into a Sketches of Brunswick East kind of melody. Now that I think about it, one of the best ways I can describe this album to a Gizz fan that hasn't heard it would be it's like if you took Sketches of Brunswick East and mixed it with Quarters. Then the song gets very techno-y, and we end up hearing the music that we heard in the promo for the Timeland Festival. It's also thanks to me recognizing this part from the promo that I realized I was listening to this album on the wrong speed. I guess it's pretty easy to not notice something like that when you haven't heard the album ever in your life, but I ended up just restarting it from there and all was good. After that techno-y, dancey, groovy segment, King Gizzard channels their inner Zelda. To my knowledge, this is the first time that we've ever heard an ocarina in any King Gizzard song. I mean, there could have possibly been one in Paper Mache Dream Balloon, that would have made sense, but not that I can think of. And then after this ocarina segment, it turns into my favorite part in the entire album. The music is like taken straight out of like a criminal hacking, high stakes scene. And it just makes me want to like do homework or do something productive and listen to it in the background. And this might be a stretch, but I would not be surprised at all if the segment following that was heavily influenced by Cook Craig. The instruments in the background just kind of have that vibe that I get when I listen to some of his other work like Laugh About Life and Inside Outside. The final moments of Timeland slow things down and they bring in some really dreamy background vocals, a really nice and sweet melody in the background. It's just a really great outro. And then at the very end of the song, it actually kind of reminds me a lot of the end of the song Butterfly 3000. It kind of, it gets pretty upbeat and explosive. The general consensus I get from seeing people's takes to the album is that they enjoy the song Smoke and Mirrors even more than Timeland. While I wouldn't personally agree, I still really do love this song. I obviously think the reason people really enjoy this song, and I do as well, is Rappin' Ambrose. Another bopper to your strings, another sucker with a broken wing. The only critique I have for this part is that it's not longer. I mean, we get it twice, near the beginning of the song and at the very end, but I mean, I saw a review for Ominum Gatherum from a critic, I guess, that got it early, and they said that there are hip-hop odysseys or something like that in the next album. So if this is a preview for what we're going to hear, I am very excited. I haven't listened to this song nearly as many times as Timeland, so I can't really go on about it as long as I was, but this song just features a lot of, those dreamy background vocals that come back in, really nice instruments all throughout. And if you remember in my Timeland Saga Explain video, I actually had a snippet of what ended up being part of Smoke and Mirrors. All in all, I really, really love this album. Is it my favorite King Gizzard album? Definitely not. But from the way that people were describing it before I heard it, it made me think that I was gonna listen to like an album that was just absolutely nothing and it was just filler. Like the vibe I was getting was the band wasn't like proud of it or something. I don't know. It was probably all just people blowing smoke. But what I can tell you is just try your absolute best to go into it, you know, not having any outside influences. I mean, I'm guessing if you made it this far in the video, that's kind of already too late because I really love it, so you're probably positively influenced. But just try, I mean, that's the kind of the thing you should do for every album. Go into it, try as best as you can to just go in with an open mind, and that's what I would recommend you do with Timeland. I'm going to be redoing my King Gizzard tier list video I made a while ago, and I can't really speak on where Timeland is going to fall in that, but I would say it's probably going to be in the A to B range, maybe A. I really love it that much. However, to be fair, that's probably the new album hype, you know, talking, so I'm assuming that after a while it'll probably fall a little bit, but I'll definitely have to do a second look eventually. Made in Timeland absolutely deserves its spot in King Gizzard's discography, and I really hope it does not get overlooked. Anyways, guys, that's pretty much the two major things I wanted to talk about. Kind of wrapping things up, I have some other headlines for you. The band Tropical Fuckstorm actually recently did a collaboration with King Gizzard. This project is titled Satanic Slumber Party, and it is broken up into 3 parts. This isn't technically an album, they're actually calling it an EP, and I would be lying if I told you I listened to it, you know, a lot. I've been really busy with Timeland and Ominum Gatherum stuff and everything else, so I would be lying if I said I listened to this album a lot, or the EP. But definitely check it out if it seems like it'd be your thing. I'm definitely going to give it a second listen soon when I can. Other notable things, make sure you check out Gizverse.com. There's a lot of new merch that just came out. All the shirts from the individual theme nights during King Gizzard's marathon set back in December are available. Along with that, the Butterfly 3000 Ocular Edition is finally out. I'm not sure if it's sold out or anything, but if you are interested, definitely go out and purchase. Anyways, guys, I hope you are just as hyped for Omnium Gatherum as I am. And if you're interested in Made in Timeland, I hope you have gotten the chance to listen to it. Thanks so much for watching this month's edition of KG Monthly, and I'll see you guys next time.